Mogadishu seaport is experiencing a resurgence amid relative stability after long-running political turmoil. There's a hive of activity at the revitalised port as ships dock and others wait in tow. The facility is Somalia's major route for exports and imports. The nation exports large quantities of fruit and livestock. With the reduced threat of piracy and improved security, business concerns have eased and more companies are using the port.
Recently, it looks like new management coming to Mogadishu port, and it's growing very fast. Coming international companies such like Permalines, Mediterranean Shipping Company, CMA CGM, and everybody like to have business with Mogadishu because it's a growing up market. Yeah, and I believe very soon everything will be fine in Mogadishu.
Port of Mogadishu, in the capital of Somalia, is the largest harbour in the country and one of the largest in East Africa. After massive losses during the civil war, the federal government of Somalia launched the Mogadishu Port Rehabilitation Project in 2013, an initiative to rebuild and modernise the port, awarding the 20-year contract to Turkish firm Al Barak. The $80 million revamp project also looks to create employment opportunities for Somali youth. Today, thousands of containers come and leave the port every month. It's a sector expected to grow further and generate increased revenue for the government.
During months is cargo growing. For Mogadishu, container growing. Also, around 300 units we delivering every month. This is only our ship. 300 loaded containers we taken back empty, going back to Jebel and bring it back. So easy, port is growing.
The agreement sees 55% of revenue generated at the seaport go to the government and the remaining 45% to the Turkish operators. The port has generated $2.7 million in service revenue within the first month under the new operators. The revitalised port is being seen as a testament to the relative peace in Somalia and a signpost to the nation's future economic growth potential. Andrew Thompson, CCTV.
Somalia's decision to terminate a long-standing U.S. port pact has triggered intense debate across diplomatic, military, and commercial circles. Ports in the Horn of Africa are not simply commercial gateways. They sit at the intersection of global trade routes, energy flows, maritime security, and geopolitical competition. Any shift in access arrangements sends ripples far beyond national borders. Somalia occupies one of the most strategic maritime positions in the world. Its coastline stretches along the Gulf of Aden and the Indian Ocean, adjacent to shipping lanes that carry a significant share of global trade, including oil shipments from the Middle East to Europe and Asia. For decades, foreign powers have viewed Somali ports as critical nodes for logistics, counter-piracy operations, humanitarian access, and regional influence. The U.S. port arrangement with Somalia was rooted in security cooperation and logistical support rather than conventional commercial ownership. It provided American forces and partners with access for resupply, training coordination, and regional maritime operations. In return, Somalia received security assistance, port development support, and diplomatic backing during a period of state rebuilding. The termination of the pact did not occur in isolation. Somalia has been recalibrating its foreign policy, seeking to assert greater sovereignty over strategic assets while diversifying international partnerships. Domestic political pressure has grown over the perception that key infrastructure has been shaped too heavily by external interests. For Somali leaders, port access is increasingly framed as a sovereign decision tied to national development, not solely security arrangements. Economic considerations played a major role. Somali ports represent one of the country's most valuable long-term revenue streams. Control over access terms, fees, and development pathways can determine whether ports function as extractive transit points or engines of domestic growth. By reclaiming leverage over port arrangements, Somalia aims to attract a broader range of investors under revised conditions. Regional dynamics also matter. The Horn of Africa has become a crowded strategic theater, with multiple global powers maintaining military or logistical footprints. Djibouti hosts several foreign bases, Neighboring countries are upgrading ports to compete for transit traffic, and Red Sea security has intensified amid global tensions. Somalia's move signals an effort to avoid being locked into a single security framework. Washington's reaction reflects the strategic weight of the decision. U.S. planners view port access as essential for flexibility in maritime operations, humanitarian response, and counterterrorism coordination. Losing guaranteed access introduces uncertainty and requires alternative logistics planning, potentially increasing costs and reducing response speed in a volatile region. However, the setback is not purely military. Port access agreements also serve as symbols of influence. When a partner state revises or ends such arrangements, it raises questions about alignment and long-term strategic trust. For U.S. policymakers, Somalia's decision is part of a broader pattern in which smaller states reassess legacy agreements amid shifting global power balances. Somalia's leadership has emphasized that the decision does not signal hostility toward the United States. Instead, officials describe it as a reset, aimed at renegotiating terms that better reflect current realities. This framing suggests openness to future cooperation under revised conditions, rather than a complete disengagement. China's growing commercial presence in African port infrastructure has amplified scrutiny of any port-related decision. While Somalia's move is not explicitly tied to Beijing, the broader context of global competition shapes perceptions. Any change in port access in a strategic corridor inevitably triggers speculation about who might fill the gap. At the same time, regional partners and multilateral institutions are watching closely. Port governance reforms can influence insurance costs, shipping routes, and investor confidence. If Somalia succeeds in strengthening oversight while maintaining security standards, it could enhance its standing as a regional logistics hub. Domestic considerations cannot be ignored. Somalia's political landscape is complex, with federal dynamics, clan interests, and regional administrations influencing decisions. Control over ports intersects with revenue sharing, employment, and local development. Ending a foreign pact can be popular domestically if framed as reclaiming sovereignty and economic opportunity. Security risks remain a central concern. Ports are potential targets for illicit trafficking and militant activity if not adequately protected. Somalia's challenge is to ensure that revised arrangements do not weaken maritime security. International partners will judge outcomes based on stability, not symbolism. From a U.S. perspective, adaptation is already underway. Alternative access points, rotational presence, and enhanced cooperation with neighboring states can offset the loss. The United States retains significant capabilities in the region, but the episode underscores the importance of flexible partnerships rather than fixed assumptions. The decision also reflects a broader global trend. States across Africa, Asia, and the Middle East are reassessing legacy agreements signed under different power dynamics. Infrastructure once viewed primarily through a security lens is increasingly evaluated for economic leverage and political autonomy. Somalia's ports sit at the heart of this recalibration. Their future development will influence trade flows, regional integration, and diplomatic alignment. Whether the termination leads to improved outcomes will depend on execution, transparency, and the ability to balance sovereignty with security cooperation. For Washington, the setback is a reminder that influence must be continually renewed. Partnerships endure when they evolve with local priorities. For Somalia, the move is a high-stakes assertion of agency in a region where strategic assets attract global attention. The story is not over. Negotiations, new frameworks, and alternative arrangements are likely. What remains clear is that control over ports is no longer a technical issue. It is a defining element of modern geopolitics, and Somalia has placed itself firmly at the center of that conversation.
You've been watching Echoes of Africa, where every story carries the sound of tomorrow. If this moved you, subscribe now, like, and share so Africa's voice never fades into silence.